story of more woe than this, of Juliet and her Romeo.
Hello everyone, I'm Sheila Melinia.
Hello everyone, my name is Fitrotul Muslimah.
Hello, I'm Devina Maulida.
Hello everyone, I am Nabila Prihatini.
Hello everyone, I'm Ela Rusnilah.
Hello everyone, my name is Septi Lestari.
We
Are
From
the
Second
group. Alright, in this slide I will inform you about the outline of this video. As you can see in this slide, we from group 2 will analyze the play of Romeo and Juliet with the 2013 version, starting from the title until the moral value that we get after we watch this film. So no need to wait for it, let's get started now and enjoy for watching. Okay, I'm Samania and I will be the first to explain about the title and the author or the playwright of this film. As I said before, the title is pretty straightforward and the play is a tragedy about two crazy kids named Romeo and Juliet. And for your information, the full title in 1599 version of the playwright is The Most Excellent and Lamentable Tragedy of Romeo and Juliet. The tragedy Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare was presumably written between 1594 until 1596 and was first published in 1597. Then it was released in a film for the first time in 1968 with the same title. And as you can see in this slide, it is an additional information about William Shakespeare, the someone who has created a film with a legendary tragedy of love. And next I'm going to talk about the type of the play. Basically, Romeo and Juliet is officially classified as a tragedy, but in some respect, the play deviates from the tragic genre. Unlike other Shakespeare tragedies such as Macbeth, King Lear, and Julius Caesar, the play of Romeo and Juliet is not concerned with a noble character whose actions have widespread consequence. Instead, the story describes the love between two ordinary teenagers. After that, I will explain what the theme in the play of Romeo and Juliet. And for your information, themes are ideas that run all the way through a literary work. They are great to analyze because you can discuss the writer's intention, like what have they done or what are they trying to make the reader and the audience think and feel about the literary work. And in Romeo and Juliet, there are many themes such as love, conflict, and family. All three themes interlink, as Shakespeare wanted to illustrate how love, conflict, and family intertwine with one another. He also wanted to show that sometimes, through love, we can also hate each other. Romeo and Juliet is the most famous love story in the English literary tradition. Love is naturally the play's dominant and most important theme. The play focuses on romantic love, specifically the intense passion that springs up at first sight between Romeo and Juliet. The next about conflict and family. There are sub-themes of Romeo and Juliet. Shakespeare presents the theme of conflict through two warring families, the Montagues and the Capulets. The conflict between the two families is almost presented to be natural until Romeo Montague and Juliet Capulet fall in love. It is here that everything changes when Romeo and Juliet die. Both families apologize for their behavior and vow to honor each other, thus remembering their children's unjust deaths. Within the families, there are relationships which contribute to Romeo and Juliet's tragic deaths.
Okay, in this slide, I will explain about setting. Among the Renaissance characteristics are balance and symmetry, which Romeo and Juliet has in superabundance. A city in northeastern Italy in Shakespeare's lifetime. It was part of the Venetian Republic, but until 1405, it had been an independent city-state. In the late 14,000 to early 15,000, the Renaissance, though the date is never really stated. However, there are a few ATCs set in Mantua, Italy in smaller town just a few miles away. Setting for details. First, much of the action takes place in Juliet's home, and the second at the market, where the family spark a fight that angers the prince, and he threatens that if Verona's place is disturbed again, he will take their leave. And the third, in apothecary, Romeo bought potion and went to Juliet.
Okay, in this slide, I want to explain about the Shakespeare's primary source for Romeo and Juliet. It was a narrative poem by Arthur Brooke called The Tragical History of Romeo and Juliet, written in 1562. He also could have known the popular tale of Romeo and Juliet from a collection by William Painter, entitled The Palace of Pleasure, which was written sometime before 1580. And there are three sources on which Brooke's poem and Painter's story were based, which may also be read by Shakespeare and become the other sources for the story of Romeo and Juliet.
Synopsis begin. The story commences with an ongoing fight between the Capulets and the Montagues, which break out again on the streets of Verona, when the Prince Achilles announces a warrant to both sides that they must not disturb the peace again. On pain of death, Juliet's mother confessed the desire of Count Paris to Juliet of the ruling house to marry with her, from the house of Capulet who is young.
Romeo is lovesick for Rosaline. So, Benvolio, Romeo's best friends, invite Romeo to come to a party being held by the Capulet. They decide to go to it as a maskers. At the party, Romeo meets Juliet and they fall in love. Romeo must leave the party as soon as possible. But on the way home, Romeo returns to meet Juliet and exchange vows of love. Romeo tells Friar Lawrence and he consents to marry them. The Capulet decides to marry Juliet with Count Paris, but Juliet refuses it. She goes to Friar for help. Friar devises a plan. He will give her a drink that will make her appear dead and thus avoid the marriage, and he will write to Romeo to tell him, but it doesn't reach in time. On the eve of her marriage to Count Paris, Juliet takes the liquid and she declared dead. At the end of the story, Romeo heard that Juliet had died. Because he felt very sad, Romeo decided to kill himself too. When Romeo arrived at the funeral, he saw Juliet lying down. And Romeo drank the poison and he died beside Juliet. Not long after that, Juliet woke up and found that Romeo was dead. Juliet was crying and killed herself with Romeo's dagger. Because of the death of Romeo and Juliet, Capulet and Montague agreed to make peace, and the violent feud is declared over.
Hello everyone, I'm Nabila Prihatini. I will continue our material about Romeo and Juliet. Its characterization of Romeo and Juliet characters. The first one is major characters. Start from Romeo. He is a protagonist but handsome and intelligent. His idealism and passion make him an extremely likable character, the son and heir of Montague and Lady Montague. The second is Juliet Capulet. She is protagonist and a strong female character. She also shows her inner strength and independent nature in her decision. She is the girl of Lord Capulet. The next is the nurse. She is protagonist character. She helps arrange the marriage between Juliet and Romeo. The nurse is Juliet's career and confidant. The next is Tybalt. He is a villain character. He is antagonist but also extremely feisty and enjoys the conflict between the Montagues and his family. Tybalt Capulet is Juliet's cousin, Mercutio. He is fictional character. He is one of Romeo's close friends and a blood relative to Prince Achilles and Count Paris. Next mirror character, start from Lady Montague, is Montague's wife and Romeo's mother. The second is Lord Montague, the head of the Montague family. He is Romeo's father. The next is Count Paris, the cousin of Prince Achilles and Mercutio. He is in love with Juliet. The next is Benvolio. He is peace-loving character. He is a member of House Montague and Romeo's cousin. And the next is Prince of Verona, Prince Achilles. He holds authority over the Montague and Capulet families who are feuding. He is the cousin of Mercutio and Paris. And the next is Lady Capulet. She is a selfish character, Capulet's wife and Juliet's mother. The next is Lord Capulet. He is sometimes seen a protective father. He is Juliet's father. The next is Peter. He is the nurse's personal servant in House Capulet. The next is Abraham, is a servant in House Montague. And the next is Balthazar, is Romeo's personal servant in House Montague. And the next is Gregory, is a servant of House Capulet. And the last is Samson, is a servant of House Capulet.
Hello everyone, this is the dramatic structure have 4 parts. My first, rising action, and the second, climax, and the third, falling action, and the fourth, development or catastrophe. My first part of the rising action is Romeo is in love with Juliet and she loves him. Juliet sent Romeo a challenge to a duel. Paris still want to marry Juliet, but Juliet is already married to Romeo. Romeo and Juliet is doing everything in secret. And the next second part of the climax is the challenge from Tilbat result in the deaths of Mercutio and Tilbat. Romeo is to be exiled or banished, must leave Juliet. Juliet and Romeo is banished. Tilbat is dead and she has to marry Paris. And the next third part of the falling action is Romeo plans to wait in Metria until he is reunited with Juliet. Juliet the pleasure to make her sleep. She will be reunited with Romeo. And the next fourth part of the denouement or catastrophe is Romeo and Juliet dies. Romeo kills Paris. Capulets and Montagues agree to pitch. Friar Lawrence predicates pitch from the marriage.
Language style. Language plays an important role in Romeo and Juliet as it defines and characterizes the character in the drama. It is used to indicate which social class they belong to, signify a change in character, reflect their mood or feelings, and recognize when their characters have to understand what they are saying. Shakespeare's writing style in Romeo and Juliet is mostly low language and high language. For example of low language is when Romeo said, "Oh, teach me how I shall forget a thing." And then, "Oh, take thee at my word, call me but love, and I'll be new baptized, henceforth I never be Romeo." And for example of high language is when Romeo said, "I dreamed a dream tonight." And the second one is, "That last is true, the sweeter rest was mine." And the last one is, "If I prevent with my unworthiness hand this holy strain, this gentle sin it is my lips, to blessing pilgrims, ready stand to smooth that rough touch with a tender kiss."
The first outstanding feature is the masquerade party. This is an interesting scene. This is the beginning of Romeo and Juliet meeting and falling in love at first sight. The second is the balcony scene. This scene is very famous, where in this scene Romeo tries very hard to meet Juliet and confess his love by climbing the balcony. And the last and the most identical to the story of Romeo and Juliet is poison. In the story, Romeo kills himself by drinking poison due to his sadness, believing that his lover has died.
Okay, in this slide, I will explain about the figurative language. Firstly, simile, a figurative language that equates one thing with another. An example, true, I took of dream, which are the children of an idle brain, begot of nothing but vain fantasy, which is as thin of the substance as the air. Mercutio. In the meaning, Mercutio compress dream to the air and how fast they can change like the course of the wind. And the second is metaphor. Metaphor is used to describe an object or action by using compression. An example, but soft, what light talk yonder window breaks? It is the east and Juliet is the sun. Romeo. And the meaning is Romeo is comparing Juliet's beauty to the sun. At the third, personification, a style of language that gives human characteristic of behavior to inanimate object. An example, to know, the marks of night is on my face. Juliet. In the meaning, it is night outside and it is so dark. Out, dead. Juliet cannot be seen, like there is a mask over her.
Euphony is a writing technique that combines words and phrases in such a way that creates a rhythm. For example of euphony is when Prince Excalibur said, "One day love will claim its own, one day wreck is handed his throne, one day the hidden throat is known, one day." And then parodic is a figure of speech that states something is opposite or contradictory. Meanwhile, irony is figurative language that implies something different, sometimes even contrary to what is actually said. For example of parodic is when Romeo said, "Under love's heavy burden I do sink."
The drama Romeo and Juliet began and ends with fate. In the play, fate drives the action and creates conflicts. Romeo and Juliet are star-crossed lovers. They never meant to be together. It was only through their deaths that their parents' feud was finally over.
As the reality of death washed over their families, and grief began to set in, both Montague and Capulet swore to honor each other's children, to never forget the sacrifice of innocent life. Fate forced the foes to come together, to relinquish their hatred and embrace forgiveness. Creating one's own destiny is a motivating factor in Romeo and Juliet. In the play, the characters find out that they cannot outwit what has been predetermined. Fate brings hope and peace to fleeting families in Romeo and Juliet, but only after the demise of two young lovers. Overall, this play is a commentary on the power of fate, for we are all just players in fate's ambiguous plan.
Alright, the last it is about the moral value that we get from the play of Romeo and Juliet. The primary lesson from Romeo and Juliet that we need to learn is to be true in life rather like they are innocent to each other. Secondly, there are values in life that we ought to not disregard, and we need to keep our guarantees as well. Lastly, the story teaches us to be able to control ourselves, to let anger overwhelm us and destroy everything, even destroy a beautiful story. They are the references that we use in making this material other than the film source listed. We hope our explanation in analyzing the play of Romeo and Juliet can make you more understand about what is the true meaning of love, and also about the aspect contained in literacy, especially in drama classes. And yeah, you can enjoy them or understand about it. So of course, we want to say thank you so much for your attention. Last but not least, love is beautiful, but don't act stupid because of love. So, ciao, adios, I'm done.